1 Timothy chapter 3. After reading through the notes and consulting with the men who taught, just a couple of things that I want to speak about. Thanks for your prayers. I will be here for the next 6 weeks, 6 Fridays, except one. I'll be in India, December 5th. But we had an amazing trip. It started in Uganda, 2 days in Uganda, 2 days to get to Uganda, 2 days in Uganda with all the leadership of the church. Then I flew through Kenya, then from Kenya to Zimbabwe, where I spent a week with Pastor Ronaldo. 10 Zambian pastors who came to visit, they came by bus. We spent a week there. He has a church of 100 in 1 year with 75 Bible college students. And it was an amazing time of evangelism. And it's very interesting. You cannot congregate in large groups other than church. So when you're on the streets with 25 people to evangelize, you have to kind of play it very cautious. But we had an awesome time. Then we flew to Malawi, and I was with the team in Malawi for 1 week. Pastor Chris Arman and his wife, Julie, his parents, Pastor George Arman and his wife, and Matt and Lisa, and my son Peter. And we had a week there, and he also has 75 Bible college students in a year or so. And a church, we had a conference called The Healing of Grace, Heal My Soul, for I Have Sinned. And the psalmist asked for loving kindness. Be merciful to me and heal my soul, for I have sinned. So we talked about the healing of the soul. And, there's such an emphasis in Africa on the healing of the body. But we talked about the healing of the soul for 5 days. It was really an amazing time. Then we flew from Malawi. Actually, we drove 13 hours from Malawi to Zambia. We stayed in a place called Chipata, where we want to plant a new church. It's on the border of Zambia and Malawi, and a great city for a church. And I met a lot of Rastafarians there, which is really interesting, and had to debate with them about the smoking of marijuana. And they said every green thing is given by God. I said, would you guys come with me and we'll go roll in poison ivy? And then let's just test that. And they said, no. I said, oh, so that's what it is. And I wish I had a pair of hedge clippers to cut their hair. And I expressed that desire, but I repented. And then we drove to Zambia. We were with the church for a relationship seminar, which was the most highly attended seminar we've had in years, in Lusaka. And then we drove another 6 hours by bus. I got to stand up the whole way because they were singing. They sang for 5.5 hours straight without a miss, all the way on the bus. And we got to Kitwe. We had a seminar for leadership. We had 50 of us there, 50 pastors, and we spent 3 days in Kitwe evangelizing. And then we drove back to Lusaka and spent a couple days in Lusaka, then flew to South Africa, did a convention in South Africa for 6 days, then flew to London, and then flew home, and then flew to the pastors' conference, or drove, not flew. So I'm back somehow by the grace of God, actually alive. And thank you for your prayers. And the work in the field is phenomenal. It's so encouraging. If you haven't been there, go see it. If you haven't been, you don't want to go there, go someplace else. And just look at the work. It's amazing when you see the work of God in this ministry. I just want you to remember there's 585 churches in this world with GGWO, 412 of them in India and Africa, which is really phenomenal. And it's just exciting to see how the work is progressing. Pastor Ronaldo has traveled with me most of the way. He's good because you always know he's got your back, more ways than one. And we just had a great time. So we're going to talk about leadership tonight. This is a leadership class, obviously. and 1 Timothy chapter 3. I want to just read a few verses. I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the qualifications that I think were not touched on or were touched on, but I want to just hit them, a couple of them again, and then talk a little bit about the church. We have a message on the church today on Grace Hour, and I want to talk about the church from verses 15 and 16. Then we'll go into chapter 4, and I want us to see that demon spirits want to seduce you from truth. The Holy Spirit wants to apply truth, and demon spirits want to take you away from truth. Say that. The Holy Spirit wants to apply truth, and demon spirits want to take you away from truth. It's all about the truth. One wants to draw us near and apply it. The other spirits want to take us away from it. And this is very important to know because Paul was warning Timothy about the devil and seducing spirits. And so often when we think about leadership, we don't think about what we do, but I think it's important to emphasize that pastors, leaders, husbands, fathers, women who are older women discipling younger women, leadership needs to understand that they are there to guard people. And sometimes when you guard people, people don't understand. You could say something that's guarding somebody, and then they could get upset with you because they think you're infringing upon their believer priesthood. And I do know we need to be careful about that. We need to make sure that people have the liberty to make their decisions. Are you with me? Yeah. You know, if you want to come to this class, great. If you don't, I don't really care. I'm not going to chase people down to figure out why you're here or why you're not here. It makes no difference to me. Once you've got more than 3 absences, it'll be the administration that deals with you. I'm not chasing people trying to figure out who's here and who's not here. I got a few better things to do than that. And you have liberty. You want to be here? Great. If you don't want to be here, have a great day. Love you and catch you in heaven. It's okay with me, you know, whatever. I don't get offended if you don't want to be in my class. Whatever. So it's important that people have the liberty to make decisions, even the decisions that are contrary to truth. Isn't that good? You have the liberty to make decisions that are contrary to truth. You have the liberty. And I'm not going to infringe upon that liberty. But I do want to guard, and I do want to say something about it. And that's important. And so we want to take a look at this tonight because it's very interesting with the qualifications, the importance that Paul would say to Timothy, I guarded you, now guard them. And guarding means, and doing it with the truth and with grace and with love, but guarding people. Because there's a lot of things I could not see coming that somebody else could see coming. Are you with me? There's things that I might not recognize. There's areas that I'm blind in. There's things I'm not looking for maybe. And so it's an opportunity for pastor. I would often say to Dr. Stevens, when he visited me in Africa or when I was with him in Massachusetts, like, please feel free to say whatever you want to me if you think there's an area I need to grow in. I give you that liberty. I give you that liberty. Now, if somebody doesn't give you that liberty, then you don't go near it. But I would say, like, you know, please help me because I make enough mistakes like already. I don't need to make more. And I don't want to, and when you make mistakes as a leader, you can find yourself damaging other people. All right? And it's not even your intention, it just happens. So 1 Timothy chapter 3, it says, this is the true saying. If a man desire the office of bishop, he desires a good work. And by the way, the word bishop is a good word. You know, a lot of times I hear a little bit of derogatory remarks about, that guy says he's a bishop of the church. Well, to be honest with you, episkopeo is better translated bishop than any other word in the Bible. Pastor is poimeno, or raha in the Hebrew. But bishop really is episkopeo, to watch over. A bishop oversees. So it's not a bad word, all right? Overseer is a better word. Overseer is a better word, but we don't use that. If a man desires the office of bishop, he desires a good work. Isn't that good for some of you men to think about? Huh? What do you desire? Good business? Good job? Good family? Good house? Good friends? Or good work? A good work. You know what? Go for it. Are you with me? Go for it. I don't know, Well, if I don't know, I'm going for it anyway. All right? Go for it. Go for the office of pastor. It's God, the desire for pastoring. And it'll be checked off. If it's not from God, the leadership will check you off. Don't worry about it, okay? Don't worry about that. It's important because there are so few of them, so few Christians want to go in that direction anymore. It's amazing. Oh, how am I going to take care of my family? God? Like, whatever happened to God? How am I going to take care of my family? God? Does God leave the throne because you decided to be a pastor? A bishop must be blameless, the husband of one wife, vigilant, sober, of good behavior, given to hospitality, not able to teach, not given to wine, no striker, not greedy of filthy lucre, but patient, not a brawler, not covetous. And one that rules, I like this one that rules or leads his own house, having his children in subjection with all gravity. For if a man know not how to rule his own house, how shall he take care of the church of God? Now, there are exceptions in the sovereignty of God to this. And we'll talk a little bit about that. But this is a very important point. If your house won't follow you, why should a church? Why should other people? And that doesn't mean that you don't have the gift. It means you may have to pray more, develop more, love more, invest more before you take that place. Are you with me? Very clear about that. Not a novice, lest being lifted up with pride, he fall into the condemnation of the devil. Moreover, he must have a good report of them which are without, lest he fall into the reproach and snare of the devil. I like those two words there. They're kind of interesting. Lifted up and fall. When you and I get lifted up, are you with me? Yes. The fall's coming. Don't worry about it. The experiential fall's coming. When I get lifted up, Satan lifted himself up, and guess what happened to him? What happened to him? He fell. When I'm lifted up, it's guaranteed. You don't have to worry about whether anybody else knows it or what's going on. I get lifted up, God's going to deal with it. Are you with me? So often we got to try to figure out how to deal with every single person instead of letting God do it. Hello? Are you with me? You know what? You get lifted up, I get lifted up, I'm going to fall. All right? I get lifted up, I'm going to fall. And it's up to God, because many times God is so patient and loving and gracious that it's something that he is handling. He is dealing with. All right? And this is interesting because we need to understand how much the enemy hates leadership. Did anybody talk about that in the last few classes? Satan hates leadership. Why? He lost his. Are you with me? Yes. Are you with me? Are you thinking tonight? Are you concentrating? Are you fiddling around? Mentally fiddling and diddling in your mind? Huh? He hates leadership because he was the chief archangel and he was dropped out of his position. He hates it. So his attack against it is going to be incredible. And this is very clear. Not a novice, not newly planted, a novice. Least being lifted up with pride, he falls into the condemnation of the devil. Moreover, he must have a good report of them which are without, lest he fall into the reproach and snare of the devil. Now, this is interesting as we start leadership here. Think about those statements. Number one, the condemnation of the devil. If you get lifted up, or a leader gets lifted up with pride, he's going to fall into the condemnation, the krima, K-R-I-M-A, the krima, the condemnation, falling into the condemnation of the devil. The very judgment, he falls into that. He falls into the condition, all right? Not the position, but the condition. So he falls in the condition. The devil is into pride and rebellion. And there's consequences to pride and rebellion. And so a person that gets lifted up is going to fall into the condemnation experientially of what the devil is about. All right? Falls into the condemnation of the devil. The judgment against the devil. Not going to hell. He's not the devil himself. He's not a demon, but he just falls into and experiences some of the things that are related to the fall, falling into the condemnation of the devil. And that is interesting. Then it talks about the reproach and snare of the devil. Are you with me? Reproach is a word that means the dishonor. The dishonor that the devil felt, the reproach of the devil, and the snare of the devil speaks of the trap, okay? The being held fast in a trap. That's the devil's strategy, by the way. So he's saying leadership must be very, very careful not to fall into the condemnation, the reproach, and the snare of the devil. And isn't this what happened to Peter? Are you with me? Yes. Simon, Simon, Satan has desired to have you, demanded you back for himself in the original Greek language. Simon, Simon, he didn't say Peter, Peter, did he? He said Simon, old sin nature. Simon, Simon, Satan has desired, he's demanded you back for himself. But I have prayed for you that your faith fail not. And when you're converted, in other words, you're going to fall. But you're going to get what? Converted. Strengthen your brothers, okay? So the enemy got him. The enemy got him. He got him a couple of times. Got him with the denial. Got him when he was used to speak against the cross in Matthew 16. Got him when he attacked, when he was prejudiced in Galatians 2. He's going after the enemy. The enemy's going after leadership. That's why it's important to not criticize, but to pray. Are you with me? And that's why it's important to train leaders and then to correct people lovingly when they're going in the wrong direction. And that can happen to leadership. That's why pastors have pastors, right? Pastors have pastors. It's very interesting to say to somebody, like, who's your pastor? You know? Does a pastor have a pastor? Now, I know there's going to be situations where that's not possible because the person's gone home to be with the Lord. But you're still looking to other pastors. And by the way, let me explain something to you. Women do not lead. We have this idea that older women lead younger women. They disciple them. But they have pastors. Are you with me? They are pastored. All right? They're pastored by the pulpit and by people. This idea that older women will disciple a younger woman and that younger woman doesn't need a pastor is weird, strange, and is not biblical. Should I say that again? Weird, strange, and not biblical. Disciple by somebody, yes, but you need every young woman needs a pastor. By the way, who's the older woman's pastor? Huh? Does she have a pastor? It says older women, Paul said older women should help and teach younger women. Well, where did the older women get the teaching from? A pastor, a pulpit. Hello, duh. Are you with me? Okay? So, the same with us. I don't walk around saying, have I ever said to anybody here that I'm your pastor? I don't say that to people. Pastor Schaller is your pastor, right? Hello? Yes. Isn't that true? Yes. I can say that to people overseas, Pastor Ben Nar, Pastor John, Pastor Ronaldo, people that are there. And by the way, when they come here, I point them to Pastor Schaller. Who's their what? Pastor. I'm not Ula's pastor. She works in the missions office, God help her. But I'm not her pastor. I'm a pastor who can give advice and wisdom, but I'm not the pastor. Thank you. I kind of like that too. You know why? A responsibility. I don't have to I'm just joking. There's a lot of it out there, believe me. Whatnot. But we understand that. So if I'm going to disciple somebody, I'm going to disciple them to God, to Greater Grace World Outreach and to Pastor Schaller, and I'm somewhere down the road, which is fine with me. Hello? Okay, just thought I'd get that out of the way. Whether you like it or not, doesn't even matter. So the condemnation, the snare, the reproach of the devil, the condemnation, reproach, and snare of the devil. It's important because you're going to talk about seducing spirits in chapter 4. And so the devil has got demons that seduce. And they're looking at, by the way, every one of us has an area in our flesh that Satan can take you in. Every single person standing and sitting in this room, and even if somebody's kneeling or leaning back in a lounge chair, The enemy, that's a nice looking chair. The enemy knows areas of our flesh. For Peter, it was fear of the Jews. Peter feared Jews, religious Jews, because he was a simple Galilean. Thomas was doubt. James and John, it was anger. Moses, it was anger. David, it was lust. And it could be a little bit violent at times with people. The enemy knows the areas, and he knows how to go after them. And he's going after them. Demons penetrating the old sin nature to produce something. And don't sit there thinking that he doesn't know what yours is. Because we've expressed it enough times. All of us, huh? We say words. Devil can't read your mind. Say that. Devil can't read my mind. Ha ha. Devil can't read my mind. Ha ha. He can't. But I'll tell you one thing. He can read your actions. He can hear your words. There's no doubt about that. All right. I enter into that kingdom. But he's not reading my mind. So there's a strategy. 2 Corinthians. All right. Chapter 4, verse 4. There's a strategy. If you read Ephesians 6, 10 through 17, you'll see there's a strategy and a hierarchy. And it's not something to play with. And it's not something to live, not recognizing. Thinking that, oh, it's no big deal. He's just a guy with a couple of horns and a big tail. And he's, like this figure in a magazine. He's the one that put that out there, so that's what you would believe about what he is. He's the prince of the power of the air. Are you with me? He's the God of this world. He has a strategy, a hierarchy. He has in 2 Corinthians 2:11, he has systematic approaches. And he has a mind. And so he's looking for Timothy. He's looking for Paul, a messenger of Satan to do what? Hello? Some of you that don't think that this is important, the reason you don't think it's important is because he's already got you. You're sitting here in this class, he already got you. You could get delivered tonight. You think it's not, yeah, here we go. How long is he going to talk about this for, This is boring me. It's because you're satanically inspired in your brain. Your brain is gone already. Huh? Watch out. Watch out. There's a snare, and there's a reproach, a snare, and a condemnation of the devil. And it's against leadership. He went after Zechariah, the high priest, in Zechariah 3:1. Didn't he? He went after him, accusing him. He went after Moses. He went after Joshua. He went after Jesus, okay, in Matthew chapter 4. And we've got to realize that this is one of the key aspects about leadership is we have an enemy, not just our flesh and not just the world and not just the government. We've got an enemy who's been around for thousands of years. He studies human beings. Don't get scared, okay? I'm just trying to tell you some truth so you'll be aware of it and keep razor sharp spiritually. Are you with me? Yes, hello? Yes. Yeah. Interesting. So leadership that's not aware of the assaults of another kingdom is leadership that is really oblivious to all of that and really gets duped and then buys the lie. And so we've got the spirit showing us truth or seducing spirits taking us away from truth. And this happens in everybody's life. This can happen. So can you think about some time in the last day or week or so where the enemy's tried to come at you? Oh, come on with this Bible college stuff. What's it going to get you anyway? Right? Some of you are laughing. You know what I'm saying. Huh? The attack, How long is this going to go on for? Or how many years do I have to go to Bible school? That's a satanic thought. How about the rest of your life? Huh? How about going to Bible school the rest of your cotton picking life? I don't even know what that means. The rest of my life, right? Studying the Bible. Going to Bible school teaches you how to study the Bible so you'll study it for the rest of your life. What do you think you're going to do in heaven? You're going to study the Word. You'll see it in person, Him in person. You're going to study the Word in heaven. Well, I'm tired of this. Well, ask for purgatory then. I don't know. I'm just joking. Priest once told me, he said, you haven't got a shot in hell of ever going to purgatory. That's how bad you are. I said, you're the same guy that's chasing women in my father's Barbie Friday night, right? I said that to the priest. You're the same guy that's going after women in my father's barroom. And you're telling me I might not make purgatory even? I can't even make purgatory? I said, you're a gem of an example. Of course, I wasn't going to church anymore anyway, so I didn't really care about that whole scene. So let's take a look at this. And starting in verse 1, I want to this is a true saying, and I like this. I love this first statement. This is an irrefutable statement. This is a true statement. It's pistos, and it says it's trustworthy and it's believable. It's the faithful word. This is a true saying. This is a true saying. He's saying, I want you to understand something. This is absolutely true, what I'm going to tell you. If a man desire the office of bishop, he desires a good work. This is a true saying. This is irrefutable. This is true. This is worthy of belief. This is believable and trustworthy. This is a true saying. If you desire the office of bishop. And here's the interesting thing. There's two words for desire. You see the first one? If a man desires the office of bishop, he desires a good thing. There's actually two different Greek words here. The first one is orego, O-R-E-G-O. And it means stretching yourself out, longing for and seeking. In other words, this first desire is I'm stretching myself out, longing for and I'm seeking the office of what? Of bishop. Stretch yourself out, reach for, grasp after, seek and long for the office of bishop. Wow, is that a problem in Christianity today? Who wants to be a pastor? Come on. I'm not asking you. I'm asking Christianity. Who wants to be a pastor? Well, I want my kid to be a doctor. I want him to be a lawyer. That's great. Easy, Dr. Chung. I'm not talking about. That's awesome. That's awesome. I want him to be a hockey player. Basketball player. Those are okay. Leave them there. Leave them. There's nothing wrong with that. But I'm praying that they would have a desire, a longing for, a grasping for. Okay, I love the word. Orego, stretching yourself out, reaching for, grasping, seeking, longing for. This is what longing for. That's one of my prayers that people would like. By the way, we have 350 pastors in Africa. 350. We talk about this a lot. Desire, seek for, grasp after, long for the office of what? Bishop. And by the way, not just the office, but the work. A lot of people want the title. I'm going to be a pastor so I can tell people what to do. No, so you can lay your life down and die. Huh? If I become a pastor, what am I going to get? I said, you'll probably be crucified upside down in some Muslim country. How's that? You want that? That's what you're going to get. Isn't that good? Yeah, you're going to die. You're going to go die someplace. I love it. And this is, if anybody desires the office of bishop, he desires. And that second word for desire is epithumia. It means it's on my mind. He desires a good work on my mind. What I'm longing for, seeking after, stretching myself out for, looking for, it's on my mind. It's just on my mind all the time. Are you with me? It's on my mind. Epithumia. I have an eager affection and a passion for it. It's on my mind. Oh, if Christianity would have people that would have that desire. Are you guys listening to me, you young guys? On your mind, huh? A desire, stretching out, longing for, grasping after, and it stays on your what? It's always on. Do you ever have something on your mind that just never goes away? Well, I won't ask that because maybe that's not good. Huh? No, something from God, it just never goes away. You know, I know God's called me to Africa. Yeah, Oliver, I know. And it's on my mind, but I always say something. No, I'm just joking. I'm just having fun with you because you made me. There's the sauce. There's your sauce right there. I was eating your food today, and it dropped on my notes. And I quickly wiped it away with a handkerchief, and that's all red now. My wife says, you don't do it with that. You do it with... Yes, Linda. It's on my mind. It's on my mind, right? Are you with me? You say, well, I don't think I have the gift. Well, why don't you, how do you know? Maybe you don't even know. I didn't know. Dr. Stevens said, you're a pastor. I said, I was laughing about it. I said, you must be joking. I love working with dope addicts, criminals, murderers, thieves, robbers. Yeah, that's what I like. He said, you're not going to do that the rest of your life. God's got another thing for you. I said, no, he doesn't. And I walked away from him. It wasn't, but then when I began to realize this was God, it never left my what? My mind. It's on my mind. It's on my mind. And he says, he that desires the office of bishop desires what kind of a work? I like it. Good work. Kalos. It means intrinsically good in its nature. It's a good work. It's a good work. What do you think is a good work? Huh? No, I can say some things and then some people get offended. You think pounding nails is a good work? Huh? Yeah, it can be. I'm just, take it easy, Joe. Huh? No, I mean, really, please don't take this wrong and say, well, it's not balanced, and when are you going to balance that? I'm not going to balance it. I'm not balancing it, okay? This is a leadership class, and it's about desiring the office of bishop. He says it's a good work. It's intrinsically good in its nature. Doesn't mean you can't do something else. It doesn't mean that God hasn't called you to something else. But have you ever considered what's a good work in God's eyes? Huh? Pastoring people. And the ladies are sitting there saying, what about us? What about us? What about us? Well, just you can lead people. Love them, lead them, help them, right? Teach them, and point them to the pastor. Got me? Point them to Jesus, point them to the church, and then point them to the pulpit. Okay? So it's a good work. And this is amazing. And this is, how many people have wrong desires? If I don't get married, if I don't get money, if I don't get a job, if I don't get a visa, if I don't get a, oh, shut up. Desire a good work, right? I like it. Wrong desires. And by the way, when a person becomes a pastor, they can have wrong desires. We talked about that. The things that take people out. Women, wine, and money. I just named a few of them. I'll go into that a little bit later. All right? But desires a good work. I love it. And then he goes into the qualification. I'm just going to say them. You already have been taught most of them. He's blameless. All right? He's blameless. That doesn't mean he hasn't sinned or he's not. You can't point at him and say, that guy robbed the company of $500,000, okay? Hello? All right? No, not good, not good. Husband of one wife, vigilant, sober, good behavior, hospitality. These are in your Bible. Able to teach. I like that. Able to teach. Not given to wine. Not a striker, all right? Violent in his physical life and language. Not greedy of filthy lucre. That's a key one, all right? Not greedy, and these were explained. Patient, not a brawler. Not covetous, one who rules his own house well. And that word, that wasn't touched on a whole lot, I don't think, but he stands before his own house. In his marriage and with his children, actively leading his family. Now, if they don't follow, that's not his problem. But it can be a problem if he's going to be an overseer of a church. I'm not talking about an assistant pastor. I'm talking about an overseer. Rules his own house well. That's number 14. Number 15 is not a novice. And that means not one that's been newly instructed or newly planted, who has no experience. Not a novice, all right? And then somebody in number 16, did I go too fast? No, but you should already have these, so don't even bother me. You should already have these, okay? Of good report from those who are without. In other words, he's got a good testimony. He's walking down the street, they don't say, there's that thief, there's that. Now, you can get falsely accused, of course, but he's a good report to them that are without, all right? That could be like, I pay my taxes. I don't have 86 tickets that I haven't paid. That's happened to me once. I wasn't saved. I had 86 parking tickets in front of my house. They put a sign in front of my house, no parking. So I couldn't park in front of my house this way, in front of my house that way. This was in the late 50s, early 60s. They said, no, can't park. I'm like, this is wrong. This is absolutely wrong. You can't park in front of your own house. So I got 84 tickets. Never paid them either. In fact, the tickets were thrown out of court because they found out that 7 police cars had 4 flat tires apiece. And I don't know how that happened, but it was amazing to me that something happened to those police cars. And I thought, wow, it's a coincidence. So I never paid them. So we don't want that. We don't want that, okay? We don't want that. Don't get me wrong now, okay? Now, here's 6 things that Titus said that Timothy didn't say. I'm going to just give you this. We're not teaching Titus tonight. But there's 6 things that Titus said that were not in Timothy's list. So I gave you 16 things there. I'm not going to exegete them. I did it, but I'm not going to do that now again because I think they did a good job as I read their notes. I said again, blameless. This is in the Bible, by the way. Okay, you say, I can't copy that fast. Look in the Bible. Okay, blameless, husband of one wife, vigilant. By the way, that means one who can watch over people, all right? He's vigilant, watchful, all right? Sober, of good behavior, all right? Hospitality, I like that. The church in their house. Able to teach, can teach the Bible. That was number 7, all right? And there's from 2 Timothy 2:24 through 26, there's things that go with that also. You can look at it. 2 Timothy 2:24 through 26 goes with number 7, able to teach. He's gentle, patient, and meek. All right? Number 8, not given to wine. He talked about that. I saw the notes. Right? Am I right, Karen? You did. Thank you. Number 9, not a striker. All right? Contentious quarreler, always combative with his words. Not greedy of filthy lucre. And in 1 Timothy 6, we'll talk a lot about that, about a love for money. Greedy, a greedy person. That was number 10. Number 11, patient. I saw that in the notes. Not a brawler, quarrelsome, contentious. Always ready to fight, all right? Always looking for a fight. 13, not covetous, all right? He wants what other people have. A ruler of his own house well, and I said that. That's number 14, stand before. Number 15, not a novice. And number 16, of good report. Are you with me still? That's so good. Now let me give you 6 things that Titus says that would complete this 20. And there's other qualifications in 1 Peter 5 and Acts 20. And there's a lot of places. You can probably come up with lots more, but these are the ones given in the pastoral epistles and speaking to leaders. So number 1 from Titus, not self-willed. He's not looking to always please himself. He's sacrificial and a servant, not self-willed. Are you with me? Just read Titus chapter 1. Number 2, a lover of good men. He loves good people, good things. He's a lover of good men. All right? Number 3, he's just, which means he's upright and fair. It's the word from dikaiao. He's upright and he's fair. Joe Lavoie is a fair person in business. He's always been fair with me, upright and fair. Number 4, he's holy. His character and his words and his work. He has holiness as a characteristic of his life. Now, we're not talking about people that don't fail also, okay? We know people fail and they fall into sin. I'm talking about the bent of their character, all right? I'm not talking about isolated situations that happen. Number 5, he's a man of the word. He's a man of the word. Are you paying attention to me? That's good. A man of the word. Titus 1 verse 9, holding fast the faithful word as he's been taught. And number 6, he's a steward. He's an administrator. He manages the affairs of the house. He's a good steward, okay? Managing the affairs of the church. And that could be in many different things. So those are some of the qualifications there, and I think they're great for you to study them and to know about them. I think they're awesome, and you've had almost 3 classes on it, so I'm not going to go further. Now, we're going to look at the church here. Are you with me? The church. Verse 15 and 16. Well, verse 14. Where am I? 14. All right? Are you here? That's good. Chapter 3, verse 14. These things write I unto you, hoping to come unto you shortly. But if I tarry long, you may know how you ought to behave yourself in the house of God, which is the church of the living God, the pillar and ground of the truth. And without controversy, great is the mystery of godliness. God was manifest in the flesh, justified in the spirit, seen of angels, preached unto the Gentiles or nations, believed on in the world, and received up unto glory, into glory. Now the Spirit speaks expressly that in the latter times some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils. So he gives a warning about this is the church, what the church ought to be, and here's what is going to be happening in the last days. Now, I want you to think about this. In John, put these verses down. The house of God. John 2:16. Jesus calls it what house? Does anybody know? Huh? Are you sure? House of what? House of prayer. It's actually my Father's house. House of prayer is later on. There was 2 temple cleansings. There was one at the beginning of his ministry and one at the end of his ministry. Are you with me? 2 cleansing of God's house. All right? The first one he said it's a house of prayer, but you've made it a what? Are you sure? Yeah? No, you're wrong again. You've made my Father's house a house of merchandise. You've made it an emporium, a house of merchandise, a place. The word emporium is interesting. It's like a marketplace. It's a trading place. It's a place for merchants. Then in the later versions, and that's in, I'll give you the verses, Matthew 21:13, Mark 11:15 through 19, and Luke 19:45 through 48. I'll say them again. Matthew 21:13, Mark 11:15 through 19, and Luke 19:45 to 48. And then he says, my Father's house is a house of merchandise. Now a house of prayer has been turned into a den of thieves. Interesting, isn't it? And by the way, this type of thief is one who robs and does it openly. There's a couple of words for thief. There's a secret thief, kleptes in the Greek. This one here is lestes, L-E-S-T-E-S. It means one who robs you openly. Are you with me? He said that the people in the temple were open robbers. So he called them a house of merchandise and a den of thieves. Imagine that. And this is interesting. I read what Spurgeon said. He said, they changed the character of the church or house of God, and they used it to make their living. They used it to make their living. This is what they did. They changed regular money into temple money. You couldn't buy sacrifices unless you had temple money. So you brought the regular money, like the dollar, and you changed it into something else, then you bought. And then they took a fee from that. So these are these money changers in the temple working with the scribes and Pharisees and the priests, and they were changing money, and it was merchandise. It was a business. And by the way, here's what Jesus did, all right, which is really interesting to me. It's just like really interesting. First of all, he goes in there and he gets a scourge. I don't know if you know what that is. He actually made it himself. from what it says. Okay? He made it himself. And he overthrew the tables, cast out the sellers, drove out the animals. I want to know if you can, do you see the picture? Do you see Jesus making a scourge? It's a whip. I'm not saying he hit anybody with it, but he drove out the animals, the money changers, overthrew the tables when he was doing this. I'd say he was pretty what? Angry. And by the way, so you say, what's wrong with you? Don't you have any grace? Do you ever get angry at sin? Huh? You get angry at abortion? You get angry at homosexuality and lesbianism? Huh? You get angry at religious spirits that are contrary to Christ? He got angry. He got angry. All these prosperity preachers, they make me angry. You don't quote Philippians 1 to me. They preach Christ out of envy. I thank God Christ is preached. I'm saying, yeah, I thank God Christ is preached, but they make me angry. They make me angry, okay? Works people make me angry. I never got angry in my life. I'm a good Christian. Yeah, you're real good. Good according to what? I get angry when I get audited by Mormons. I get angry. Just joking. I had a Mormon IRS agent auditing me, and she said to me, I don't understand how you could spend this much money traveling around the world. And based on what you make, it's impossible. I said, it's because you don't have the Holy Spirit. I said, all you know is Joseph Smith and some Book of Mormon. I said, what do you know about God? That's why I got audited again this year. So I provoked her. And you say you shouldn't have done that. I was angry. Sorry. I'm angry when people are late. Always late. Late for church, late for everything, okay? Late, okay? So Jesus makes a scourge, overthrows tables, and drives the animals out. And then he does another thing, which I think is great. He embraces the lame and the blind and the children, right? They were not allowed in the temple. Did you know that? You could have the animals and the money changers and all of that garbage going on, but the lame and the blind and children couldn't come in. Can you imagine? Huh? It's unbelievable, isn't it? So he embraced them and drove the others out. Very interesting. There was a guy one time in a church, in one of our churches in Ghana, and he was living, I went to his house, and I went to a woman's house, and he appeared at the door with just about nothing on. He said to me, praise the Lord. I said, you should be saying praise the devil, because you're with a woman that's not your wife. And then there was a wedding at the church that weekend, and he comes to the wedding, he's in the back, and he comes, they dance for the offering, they come up, they slow dance, they put their money in. I said to two ushers, pick him up by both arms and take him out the side door. Lift him off the ground and get him out of this place. They said, really? I said, yes. I was angry that he could do that and think he could just come to church. Angry. Okay? Interesting. So, makes a scourge, overthrows the temples. By the way, also poured out the money. Picture the scene in your mind. Now, don't go out and do something crazy tonight, okay? Like going to a church and start throwing tables over and money and all kinds of things and whatnot. I'm just telling you what happened here, okay? It's amazing. Now, should we just go till 7:45, or you want a break? You want a break? You want a break? Who wants a break? Raise your hand. No. One person wants a break. Two? Is that you two? That's two, huh? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, take 10 minutes and come back. I'm going with the minority.